Of course!
Oh, sorry, I accidentally played the wrong intro for you guys. But hey, welcome to Extra Credits, the once-a-week gaming podcast. We're talking about everything gaming and nothing but games, so help us Arceus. Join us. I'm still working on that intro phrase, but we'll get there. Joining me is my co-host with the mostest, and by mostest I mean minions. We have Castor the Gravedigger. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, everybody? Excited to be here.
Yes. This has been quite an interesting week. We had the Wii U reveal. We finally had that. We're not going to be touched upon that too much, but Castor, what was your impression upon it? Have you seen the reveal?
On the Switch 2?
Yeah.
Like I said last night during the stream, it's interesting. The machine itself is interesting. It's to me, it just seems like an upgraded Switch. And I know, like you'd say, well, the next generation is always an upgraded version, but to me, it just feels like it went from like, I don't know, a DS to a DSi. You know, quality of life things, but I have to see how the graphics work. Because all we saw was superficial stuff. All we saw was the hinge in the back, or the back stand's a little bit better. The Joy-Cons are better, that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
until we see like what it can actually do, like how the games look, what it can perform under, then I'll be excited for it. But this was a nice little appetizer, nice little quality of life stuff. I thought was great. Not enough for me to go, I gotta have it. I did thought the mouse cons were innovative. Yeah, and I think that's going to open up so many possibilities for gaming on the console.
Yeah, like point and click adventures, like so many games. I could definitely see that.
Well, if it can run a better like if it has better specs on it, think about all the FPS we could do, like first person shooters. Think about that. If the mouse cons are accurate enough, you could have, mouse and keyboard on a console.
Oh God, that would be insane. So we got our first comment of the night. We got Black Cooper Kai. Hey, how you doing, buddy? That
he's lurking.
Raised. Yeah, he's always lurking. Black Cooper Kai is always lurking. Like you brought up an interesting point, because I made the argument this was a 3DS to the Switch's DS, but you say it's a DSi. So I think that's an interesting conversation to have here.
Yeah. Well, until I see more specs on it, more stuff, because like the DSi was like quality of life stuff. It was a little more streamlined, a little enhanced graphics, like barely, but it could handle a little bit more. But the thing was that, until I see what the Switch 2 can do, then we'll see if it's a 3DS. Let's see if that's that jump from the DS to the 3DS, because that jump was monumental.
Definitely for sure. Because that's why I'm liking this to a 3DS to a DS situation. Also, hey Johnny Ortiz, thank you for joining us. Hey Tan, nice to see you here. Really glad to see you sticking around. Always happy to see my regulars. But yeah, because like the 3DS, from a hardware perspective, wasn't all that different from a DS. Like it had a few new things, but obviously the 3D, but like graphically it had the huge leap. And that's kind of where I'm thinking it might be going here. Is they're doing a DS to 3DS, or maybe a Game Boy to Game Boy Color kind of thing. But I think I agree with you, and like we need to see games, because if this thing's running Elden Ring at like 30 to 60 with like minimal graphics loss, then that we might need to take notice. Or I think I said on the stream, imagine it playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah. And what we heard before, I don't know if this was rumor or if this was confirmed, but that it will have extra power when docked. I'm okay with that if that's the case. Um,
Yeah, here was some rumors that like docked, it's actually pretty close to an Xbox Series S in terms of power.
that's amazing because I have a Series X and it is very fast when it comes to processing speed. So if it's on par with that, yeah, it's definitely going to be up there with the new generation.
Yeah, not only
Um,
that, but like this is where I'm actually excited because like scaling tech, like DLSS, like they're getting the good stuff.
yeah.
Also, I'm really interested because apparently they're gonna have like active ray tracing on this console. So like a
Mm-hmm.
Legend of Zelda game with ray tracing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Like I've heard some stuff like they might do like a Legend, a Breath of the Wild remastered. Like imagine that with like remaster, like with ray tracing, or imagine they do Wind Waker with ray tracing.
Mm-hmm. It look
And,
damn good.
oh yeah. So yeah, but I've also seen a lot of people like they're kind of meh. I think we've kind of gotten too used to Nintendo always unveiling like a new gimmick, but I actually do think this is a good move for Nintendo because obviously the Switch 2 works, and
Mm-hmm.
why mess with a good thing? Obviously, it needs more power. Kind of brings the stuff in there, but just continue the success. I think Nintendo is but we do need to see games. Uh, that Mario Kart showing, I really hope that's just placeholder.
Yeah.
But it just like I said, it'll come down to the April 2nd announcement, which by the way we will be live streaming. Not okay. This is not quite in the wheelhouse of the show, but can we just talk about this for a second? That was a wild thing last night. Like TikTok shut down for like what 12 hours.
Yeah, that was I don't know that to me it was funny because it was like people were treating that like if a loved one was in the emergency room and they're waiting on to
Oh,
see how they are, and the
there was
day they
like
woke up,
911 calls.
yeah, and the day they woke up and realized, okay, oh, he's doing stable, he's going to be fine, and everybody's like, oh God, sigh of relief.
So I do have behind the scenes footage of how people are reacting to the TikTok shutdown.
Okay,
Human sacrifice.
sorry,
pretty much.
sorry, I had to. The clip was there. The clip was there. I had to do it. Um, yeah, that's the other thing. Like Marvel Snap was snapped out of existence too because it was done by ByteDance. Um,
Some people thought Rivals was going to go too.
yeah, but it's a different developer, but it's still
Yeah.
China. So yeah, so things will be interesting. Uh,
Mhm.
oh god, don't get me started on that. I don't want to go into that like that deep into the politics of it. But yeah, like you're just saying, Johnny.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a couple of pictures here through Twitter, and you can like kind of share them as we go along.
Okay,
Yeah, because I don't know, we're still working the bugs on doing the camera. For some reason, when I got the camera going, the mic doesn't work. I don't know why. So let
I
me
could
go ahead and
hear
share those
you.
real quick.
Oh, um, oh, uh, hey, Angelus. The Switch upgrades to OLED. I've never actually seen a Switch OLED myself, so I can't really comment on it. Also, Chelsea Luz, who's here, so everyone's just kind of piling into the stream. That is awesome. Yeah, you just missed us. We are talking about the Switch 2. Basically, to sum it up, me and Castor were kind of like a wait and see. And so Castor, correct me if I'm wrong. Anything I say here. Basically, Castor thinks the Switch is going to be like a DSi type upgrade. I feel it's going to be more of a 3DS, and that's kind of
Until I see more stuff. That's the thing. From what I've seen, that's what I think it is a DSi. But
yeah.
I have to see games. That's the thing. I have to see what it can do before I say, oh my God, it's going to be the next thing coming.
Yeah, John Nertees is like me, just sitting here at the lawn chair and watching. Yeah, that's and we will be live streaming the direct on April 2nd. Which Castor, you're welcome to be there for that. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Um, I still have my 3DS as well. And I think is I brought out like a bunch of my consoles for like the topic ahead, but I didn't bring out those. Maybe later on the stream because it's going to be so basically we're doing a bit of a show and tell, and then we're also going to have a bit of a debate about what's the best way to play older games. There is the side of emulation, and there is a side of like playing it on physical hardware with modifications. And what's Black Creeper got for us? Says my friend broke down the specs of the Switch 2. He's not impressed. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, there's a lot of talk going around either side. I think probably the best for everyone is just wait and see. We didn't get so much. It's fine if you're not impressed. I think that's perfectly fine. But I think whether you're impressed, not impressed, or just officially whelmed, we just need to wait for the games. Can you agree on that, Castor?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like I gotta see what it can do before I get excited. But I think it's gonna be good. That's the thing. I'm positively, I got a positive thinking about it.
Well, for me, the other X factor is price. And by the way,
Yeah.
for our international viewers, we're going to be talking price from a U.S. perspective. So the prices we throw out here are going to be USD. It might be different in kangaroo dollars or whatever, but I'm just
Maple
putting that
syrup
out there.
dollars.
Maple syrup dollars in Trudeau bucks.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. So I don't know what the hell he was. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Black Reaper, but for me, 400 is probably the sweet spot. I'm hoping it'll be 350. I think that's a bit of a pipe dream, and I'm hoping it isn't 450. I don't think it's going to be 500. All right, Castor, what are you saying?
Oh, I was nothing. I hope it's good. I hope it's around 400 also because that anymore just seems crazy.
Yeah, if it's 400, I will buy it. If it's 450, I'm probably going to wait for a price drop.
I just want my Pokemon and I'll be happy.
Yeah, you and me both. Isn't there like a Pokemon Day stream coming up in the next month or so?
I don't know. I think maybe.
Because like, imagine if they unveil the next Pokemon generation, and that's going to be like the big holiday game for this year. Like that would be smart from Nintendo, honestly. But it might be
Yeah.
too big of a turnaround because they just released Scarlet and Violet not too long ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Game Freak they're trying to take more time on the games, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see. Like what it can do. But like, I hope. I really hope that um, I really hope that the Switch 2 will have more communication, like better communications between players than some of the Nintendo systems have had. More along the lines of like, say, Xbox and PlayStation. Because most games, from what I know, are not really, you can't really have voice chat or anything on them.
Yeah, I think some people have spotted like it's going to have a built-in microphone
Mm-hmm.
on it, and I think they might be bringing back the Miiverse or like a little bit of like the Wii U Social Hub, which I think would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And Dave, I think you might be onto something. Like I think calling it Switch 2 SKUs, basically 400 and a bundle at 450. I also think storage is going to be a thing. Like, let's say the $400 one is 256 gigabytes of internal storage, and the 450 is like 512 or a terabyte. And maybe the 450 comes with the game or whatever. I don't know.
And, and that's
I could see that.
and that's something I miss a lot with consoles. Bring back pack-in games, damn it.
Yeah, honestly, this setup, I could see that. I don't think they're going to do an OLED at launch because that's something you hold off for like year 2 or year 3.
Because for me, it's like, I wish they would quit making like they do pack in bundles, but I hate when they're like specialty consoles. Like you have like a Mario console and has this Mario game, or a Animal Crossing version or whatever. Just give me a basic version that has a good pack-in game with it. I miss that.
Mm-hmm.
Give me like if they got a new Mario coming out, put that bad boy in there. And even if it has to be even if it's a digital copy, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
They say the C button will either be for chat or casting to a dock. I do think I do have a feeling dual screen gameplay might factor into this. Like basically, kind of like using the Switch um, as kind of its own tablet, like a Wii U tablet, and then you're still like doing the screen. I do think, like, I think that's possible.
Okay. Okay.
Mario Kart 9 will be back in game. That would be huge. Like I'm not gonna lie, if that's a pack-in game, that is Tetris levels of genius. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Do that because that would be awesome. Yeah. And it does have a built-in network adapter, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
Because the dock needs to have an Ethernet port. Like,
Yeah.
because like the old one, you had to buy an accessory for that, and that was not no muy bueno.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the touchscreen feature on the Switch was like vastly underused. But I
Oh
think
yeah.
if you had a a Wii, let's say a tablet mode for Wii, like a Wii U, and that use a touchscreen, that would make more developers want to use a touchscreen, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually do agree with you, Dave. I think uh, I'm not sure I disagree. What's your opinion on that, Castor?
Which one? Which comment?
Digital pack-ins don't count.
I it depends. Like at least it's something. I believe me, I'd rather have a physical game. Believe me, that to me that would be the best thing. But you know how they're going to be cheap nowadays. They're going to be like, well, it's cheaper just to put a download code in it, or just have it preloaded on the system, like they did with the 3DS with a lot of stuff.
I mean, because
But
the thing is, if you have it preloaded on the system, you basically have it ready to go for Christmas Day. If you think about
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, even if you had a physical copy, it's the same thing. But I'm just saying,
it.
yeah, I believe me, I'd rather have the physical game, and that's what I want more than anything. Is for them to bring that back, but at least give me a free game with the system. You know.
Yeah, Mario Kart 9 as the pack-in game is, oh, that is a kill shot. That is hard to
Believe me,
resist.
digital or physical, you would sell a shit ton just because of that. Because you get a free game with it, and it's like, oh, cool, I
Yeah,
get.
instant and
Especially with
it's
the
instant.
parents.
Yeah,
Parents are looking at it and they're like, I got to get my kid a game. Oh no, it comes with the game. You know.
yeah, exactly. And here's the thing that I'm wondering: will accessories, like let's say the Switch Pro controller, will you be able to use the Switch Pro controller with the Switch 2? I'm gonna say yes because I don't really see a reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah. You mean the current Pro controller?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That could, yeah. I'd love to be able to use my controller with, unless there's something stupid that they need to. I don't know, something stupid they can't do it with. But I don't see why they wouldn't be able to use the controller.
He's at Rorschach levels of compromise. Okay. All right, Geek Hero. I respect that. Um, so yeah, I think cautiously optimistic is kind of probably the most people's attitudes towards this right now. What do you think, Castor?
I think it's yeah. I pretty much agree. Yeah, it's just I think people are cautiously optimistic. I think that's the way to say it.
Yeah, and as far as like the comparisons with like the handheld PCs, I think it's a fun like for me. I've done it myself. I think it's funny, but I don't really take it too seriously because uh, console design and controller design have kind of standardized over like the last 10 years. So yes, the Switch 2 looks like a lot of handheld PCs. I have it. I literally have it right here, so I might as well just bust it out.
Oh no.
Oh no, I'm flexing again. No. So here's the Steam Deck, and yeah, it looks, whatever, but I don't care. It look. I'm pretty excited, but that kind of brings us to our main topic: emulation versus actual hardware for gaming. So the way this is going to work is we're going to talk about like the pros and cons of each. Each of us is going to represent a side. I'm going to be representing emulation. Castor, since he has a lot more money than me, is going to represent the physical side of gaming. Okay, wait, Dave's got something for us. All right, I think so. But Switch accessories might not have new features. Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, Castor. Let's just kind of start out. Why do you think physical, like on the actual hardware, is better than emulation?
Because you're getting the authentic game, you're getting the actual game, and emulation doesn't always work the way it's supposed to be. And honestly, nothing works better than on original console with original hardware. I know that's not the optimal way to do it, but for me, that's the best way to do it.
And then Dave brings up a valid point. Uh, uh, I don't think it's like the optimal way of doing it. Like you want to argue authenticity, I can accept that. Um, but in terms of like optimal, it's more of a matter of preference for a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, the reason why I choose emulation is, I guess the word above all is convenience. Because I could go out of my way to modify consoles, or and I could just play all these games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this to me is the future of gaming. You have emulation going,
Yeah,
all these all these other fingertips and whatnot. So, um, yeah, so I like emulation as a convenience, but also, you can modify games. Like a lot of games you can do, like
yeah,
packs, like graphics packs and whatnot.
mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
like I think there's pros and cons to either. Uh, but yeah, but yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. Console modding does have its perks because um, I also need to play in a CRTV. Yeah, console modding. I have plenty of modded consoles myself, like my PSP's modded, my 3DS. But I wanted to show some of Castor's handiwork here. So this is my Game Gear. All right, and let's see here. But what? A USB-C port on a Game Gear? How is that possible, Castor?
I don't know.
Um, Not only that, but like, oh, there we go. Like, look how bright that screen is.
Uh-oh. We're off to a bad start.
All right, but yeah. So Castor, tell people what you did for me.
All right, that is a fully modded Game Gear. It has a USB-C port instead of the original port. It has a brand new screen, brand new speaker. Uh, yeah, it's basically optimized, and it has a two internal lithium ion batteries rechargeable, so don't have to worry about batteries anymore.
Yeah. And I gotta say, um, being freed from like a crappy screen and battery, this system is actually really comfortable.
Yeah.
It feels good. It actually feels pretty good in the hand. Not gonna lie. And the screen is like vibrant. You know, like I gotta say the Game Gear. Um, I really feel like if imagine if Sega had released a Game Gear in 1999. You know,
Yeah. Well, I'd say it was re-released in 2000, but they didn't fix anything on it.
no, but like imagine like a Game Gear, like with like 10 years of technology improvements, and it ran on two double A's, you know, that kind of thing. Um, uh,
But I do want to
I,
address something Dave said about the CRT, and my thing is
yeah.
like, you know, honestly, uh, it depends. To me, I like crisp uh, sprites and graphics, and the thing was, a lot of the people look at them and say, oh well, the graphics were smoother back then, and they weren't as sharp and jagged as they are. And like if you play it on a modded console on a modern TV, the graphics look a little bit more jagged, a little more sharper, whereas on like a CRT they look smoother. Well, that was because um, these developers knew that we were going to be playing on a shitty composite TV. They knew we weren't going to be playing on RGB. So
Mm,
what they did was they would make it so that the graphics would blur, and they would blur in such a way that they would look smoother. So
mm,
basically, it's like if you squint your eyes, everything looks kind of blurry and smoother. That's what it really was. So to me, it's like, is it better? It's like, yeah, they look smoother, but they're also blurry because it's CRT, because it's composite. But here's the thing: if that's how you want to play, go right ahead. But for me,
mm-hmm.
having a CRT is not necessary, and that's why I like modding my stuff, because I like playing on a modern TV. And plus,
See,
I don't like lugging a huge ass CRT TV around.
for me, my thing is when I look at like playing on a modern TV, like I look at like stuff like YouTube channels like My Life in Gaming, and where like they
Yeah,
talk about like all like oh, you have to get like a $500 to $1,000 scaler, and you have to tweak for 3 hours just to get this
yeah.
right or whatever, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I've seen too many like retro RGB and yeah, like My Life in Gaming and stuff, and they talk about, yeah, it looks, this is what it looks like in the Frame Meister, and I'm like, yeah, well, Frame Meister's $800 fucking, man. Jesus Christ, I don't love gaming that much. Jesus Christ,
Yeah, like
you know, I try to mod to be more convenient, and that is not convenient, and there are much cheaper options.
I don't mind some setup. I don't mind some tweaking. Um, I mean, yes, it definitely can be. Because trust me, I really like. I want to get a RGB breakup box for a GameCube, because like there are some systems that clean up really well without too much effort. GameCube, Dreamcast, Castor. What other systems clean up really well?
The SNES, like I said, the Genesis, and of course all the other accessories that go onto the Genesis, like the Sega CD and the
Yeah,
uh,
but like with
32X
the
and all
Dream,
that.
the thing is like take a Sega Dreamcast. Let's just do one console.
Okay,
You don't have to do too much to get an amazing picture out of that. Same thing with the GameCube. Like with
no,
the
you don't.
GameCube, I think with the GameCube, you just got to make sure you buy the right console and maybe buy like an $80 HDMI thing, and it looks amazing.
Well, speaking of which, with the GameCube, if you get, I cannot sing its praises enough. The It's from Insurrection Industries. It's the Carby for the GameCube. I cannot recommend it enough. I have one myself. I use it.
Mm-hmm.
It is it it to me, it brings out a whole new life in the GameCube. So
Yeah.
what the Kirby is it only works on GameCubes that have the digital output. Um, you'll notice if you look on your back, it'll be if you look at the back of your GameCube, there'll be two different ports. It's got an analog port for like the composite cables, and then it has a digital port. Well,
Hmm.
what you do is you plug it back into that digital port, and then it has a HDMI adapter on the back. If you plug into that, plug into your TV, and you'll get that nice digital signal that the GameCube is able to output. So the GameCube was always able to output a very high quality, uh, not composite, but composite signal or no, component signal. Um, it was actually able to use a output a high signal digitally,
Hmm.
and so that's what it does. So and then you can use its progressive scan mode to get 480p instead of 480i, which is a lot better.
Yeah,
So
and then
the games,
that's where the scalers come in. You take a 480p
yeah,
signal and you can upgrade it to like whatever.
yeah. So like if you just plug the Carby up into your TV and just play like normal, the games look absolutely amazing when you play them on progressive scan mode.
Hmm.
Um, they look absolutely amazing, and that's only an $80 investment to make all your games look great. And plus, it has a little remote with it, so you can tweak, how you want it. So you can put scan lines on it. And for me, the scan lines on the Carby, I think they're good because they give it that blurred effect that people
Hmm.
like from a CRT. That kind of blurred, a little blurry effect where the pixels don't look too crisp. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the best. To me, that's the best way to play it.
See,
Um,
Dave, I think, kind of raised an interesting point. He says some games, especially with pre-rendered sprites like Super Mario 64 and No Country, were designed with CRTs in mind to build the sprites. And I think we can kind of trace back the Genesis, the Sega Genesis, to all these problems, to like the mid 2000s when everyone was like mid to late 2000s, everyone started to have HDTVs, and everyone kind of started to dig out their old Super Nintendos or NESs, and they plugged them straight into those HDTVs, and yeah, it's gonna look like crap. Because yes, those sprites were designed for a low resolution, and when you blow them up, yeah, they're gonna look like crap. I mean, I remember like 2012, me and a friend were playing Crash Team Racing, a PlayStation game, on an HDTV, and it looked like garbage.
oh
Honestly,
yeah, yeah, and newer TVs now can't even plug them into it, even if you have an adapter, because they can't even read a composite or they can't even read a analog signal anymore. They have no idea how to read it. That's why you need
yeah,
special upscaling cables. Um,
yeah. That's kind of the problem. Was the same thing was with the PS2, because like the PS2 component tables were really rare until the PS3 came out, because the PS3 uses the same like cables as the PS2, and those became more popular, and that's why a lot of people in like the late 2000s played their GameCube games on the Wii, because the Wii could play GameCube games and it outputted in a component signal. That's why a lot of people did that,
yeah.
because it was a cheaper
Dave
solution.
Dave says I had the original GameCube component cables for progressive scan. They were rare and selling for hundreds of dollars for a while before other companies cracked the proprietary technology.
Hmm.
And that's
I
and that's
remember that.
exactly what I was talking about. Because you can go get those cables and they work fine, but they're like $300, which is ridiculous because they're rare.
Yeah,
But
I remember those times.
or you could, like I said, you could spend um, $80 and get something else that works just as good.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like he was saying, where it's like some games, especially with pre-rendered graphics, like Super Mario and RPG and Donkey Kong Country, they're made to design with the CRTV. That's what I'm saying. They were made with that in mind, and they were counting on that low quality so they could blur it, make it. They were using that as an artistic way to make it the stuff look good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so when you play on a modern TV, we can see all past that and see how it actually was supposed to look. To me, at that point, it's in the eye of the beholder. Does that bother you? For me, it doesn't. But sometimes you do look. Sometimes you do miss effects like dithering, where, like, say for instance, you have Sonic and he's underwater. Well, the water's going to look really kind of weird because it was made to be blurry, whereas it just looks like a crisscross mesh pattern instead of water. So to me, that's the cons of it, but that's the nature of the beast. It's either you get used to it or you just, I don't know, you don't play. Or you find a CRT to hook up to.
Yeah, and the thing is, when it comes to like upscaling 2D games versus 3D games, they're really two whole different animals.
Oh yes,
because 3D games are is a scalable medium. You can upscale things a lot easier in 3D versus 2D. It's like that sprite is 256 by 256, and if you stretch it out, it's still going to be 256 by 256.
Yeah.
Um,
So also, I wanted to go back to what Bubba said. He said he had a he said his SNES Classic is modded. That's awesome. I have so I guess he's talking about the retro system that they came out a couple years ago.
oh yeah, like the Super Nintendo Classic, the PS1 Classic, like a lot of those got modded.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I'm assuming he has like every game on it. Which I don't mind that. Hell, it's still emulation, but to me, I don't know. Like that's the thing. It's like a lot of the average Joe. I think emulation is going to work better. To me, for someone like me, I'm more of a collector. I'm more of a specialist. That's something of my hobby. So
yeah,
it's better for me.
You're also kind of getting into another part of this argument is cost. Like if this was like even like 7 years ago, let's say we're having this argument in 2019, we'd be having an entirely different argument than the one we're having now. But with games exploding in price, and they've only really gone down a little bit, like they're not going down to their pre-pandemic prices. Like they're not. Outside of just an implosion of the market, they're not. So I think a lot of retro gaming, it is out of the reach of your average person. Like your average, like, oh, I played PS1 as a kid, I want to play PS1 games again, and they go look at like, oh, I remember playing Parasite Eve. Oh, it's $80 for Parasite Eve. Versus like when I was doing retro game in the mid 2010s, it's like, oh, I want to play Parasite Eve again. It's $20. Oh, okay, sure, I'll go grab a game.
Yeah.
Like this passion can only go so far. Like obviously the really passionate people, Parasite Eve could be $1,000 and somebody would pay for it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I sold off a lot of my collection during the pandemic because like they were worth so much. I wasn't even looking at them; they're just on the shelf. I was like, I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Maybe when I start making more money, I'll do retro gaming again. But for right now, emulation, it scratches that itch.
Yep, and that's what I'm saying. It really comes down to, are you a hobbyist or are you just an average Joe? Just like I want to, casual gamer, basically. And that's why there's a lot of like for instance, like the Switch. It has a lot of old games on it, and I think that's wonderful. You can access such a lot of wonderful games with your online membership.
Yeah, like when they first announced the Switch Online service, like $20 kind of was worth it for a year. But then the expansion pass when they first launched it really wasn't. But nowadays, with like all of like the Game Boy Advance, the N64, the Genesis games on there, $50 a year for those games, it's kind of worth it to me.
And you're getting access to a lot of the really good like library of those games. Especially with like Super Nintendo, you're getting like all the really good classics, and a really good like variety too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but and they're only adding more and more, so it's like I think it's pretty good. You can play a large chunk of the Legend of Zelda series for free on your Switch. You
Yeah,
know,
and that's really awesome.
yeah,
Let's see here. Some speculate the retro market would crash, but that's not going to happen. Even Atari games are rising in price. At least, yeah, yeah. I was a person. I'm probably just going to call myself out and say that's probably copium on my part. I think a lot of people expected it to crash at the pandemic, but it went down a little bit. It did go down a little bit and got a little bit more reasonable. I will admit that, but nowhere
Mhm.
near close to pre. The Capcom beat 'em up bundle is the only way I'd be able to afford a copy of. Yeah, or this is another thing, like the re-releases. Take for example the upcoming Suikoden 1 and 2 collection. Like I can
Yeah,
pay $200 for a PS1 copy of Suikoden 2, or I can pay $60 for both those games in a lot better format.
yeah, and I think that's and I actually think that's great. Like
Mm-hmm.
recently like if anybody's been following my Twitch, I've been playing Soul Reaver Remastered for the past couple weeks, and I think that's wonderful. I think it's amazing. Even though I do own Soul Reaver for the PlayStation and the Dreamcast, I like playing the remastered version because it looks absolutely amazing. Um,
Yeah, like
and
there's
what's
always like
cool,
I feel like there's always. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you're gonna say.
I was going to say, what's cool is you can actually switch back to the original graphics
I
instead of
love
the
when they do
remastered
that.
ones. And even if you want to have like a nostalgia trip and play on the older graphics, they still look absolutely amazing on a modern TV. Like so, it was like the game was made to play on modern stuff. So of course it's going to look good, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
amazing to see those old graphics on a modern TV and how just good they look.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it to me graphically was the old graphics look like the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast looks amazingly
I think
awesome.
I think I think they did use the Dreamcast versions as a basis for that port, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah. But yeah, you got the. It says, well, complimentary, not free. You are paying. Well, yeah, you are paying for the online service, but they are included in that bundle, and they are
Yeah, like
adding more in there.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm actually like I'm viewing it as if I'm paying $50 a year for access to those games. So like I have like $50 as a value for those games, in my opinion, is worth it. What it is now. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, and also if you're just paying the basic $20 just to have the online service, it's nice those are thrown in there for free, and they're actually adding new ones to it. They're not just
Yo,
saying,
Knicks.
"Hey, you and Nick's." So I'm saying they're still adding stuff to the free, uh, or to the $20 bundle. They're still adding stuff to that too. So I just like how they're not just like, okay, here you go, and that's it, and they don't care about it no more. They're actually, still adding new titles to it, and it's included in your because you're not getting it for those retro games, but it's cool they're included in it. That's
Yeah,
that's that's
yeah,
my thing.
yeah. My thing is, if you're just looking at it as you're getting it for those games, even $50 a year for those games is a good deal, in my opinion.
And there's a lot of games. Let's be honest. There's a lot of games on there. Yeah,
Yeah, and a
but
lot of
then
good ones,
again,
a lot of rare games. Yeah,
you could also say, well, I could also emulate those games too. So
yeah.
you can go that route
Um,
also.
yeah. Like the other route is, you got all these like Chinese handhelds that have been coming out. Yeah, so the base subscription of 20 is NES, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy. Just those alone are actually pretty good, in my opinion.
Yeah. And they do come with, I believe, didn't they add the Oracle and Seasons games?
They did, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got those two on there. In the advanced one, they got the Minish Cap game, which one of my favorites. I know a lot of people give it shit. I don't know why. I liked it, but it's on there.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the original Zelda 1 and 2 on there. You have the SNES version, And then of course with the Switch, you have Majora's Mask available. You have um, Ocarina of Time still available, so you can pretty much, except for like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, you can play almost the entire fucking library of Zelda on your Switch. One way or another.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, he's just irritated to pay subscription from yeah, well, the thing that I like to point out is look at PlayStation versus Xbox. Like PS3, you didn't have to pay a subscription, but Xbox you did. Which one got hacked?
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes paying for if it's a better experience, like no one can argue Xbox Live, especially during the 360 era, was a good experience. PS3 was kind of limited. But if you
Yeah.
get what you pay for with your subscription, I actually don't mind it.
Yeah. And I think the 360 actually had the better service, better quality of service. And I think that's because people were paying for a subscription, you know.
What do you think of the rumor that GameStop is partly to blame for retro market prices? Uh, I've actually never heard of that. But I mean, it could
I
be a cash for clunkers kind of situation where the reason, like, this kind of like you heard the reason why car prices are so absurd is because in the 2000s they had the cash for clunkers program and they destroyed a lot of the cheap cars. But yeah, you can play them all for free on your laptop. But the only thing I want to bring to your attention is this is my Mew Mini Plus, and I like it. It is a Chinese emulation handheld, and it plays lots of good stuff. Let me just do this. Again, pretty
Geekura
much like
says people just hate on Toon Link.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of hate for that. I mean, a lot of people are hoarding them. For me, I think the big thing was the rise of the graded games from people like Wada, and you
Yeah.
like there's always like a news report that comes out like, oh, X game is worth lots of money, and then all people get into it. The same thing happened in 2012 when
Mhm.
like someone discovered stadium events at a Goodwill and then sold it for like $12,000. That's what kind of rose last. Like, do you remember that, Castor?
Yeah.
Like that's what caused like kind of like the first big retro game boom was in 2012. That's where I jumped on.
Yeah.
And basically kind of had the same thing happen in the 2020s when like, oh, Mario 64 just sold for $3 million.
Yeah.
And now everyone started slapping their games and charging like 10 times the price and stupid.
And that brings up another thing too. It's like, I'm kind of sort of both. I'm the hobbyist that likes to play games. I love playing my retro games. And I am also the collector. I am the guy who has that one game that's sealed up and it's in, perfect condition and it's on my shelf and it's there to look at, you know. Um, and I feel that's the same way with a lot of stuff, that they, like there's people who have very expensive comic books and they're put up and, you know, they're there to look at. You're not to sit there and open up and
Yeah, like
manhandle.
I can understand like the very very rare and expensive games like Stadium Events,
Yeah,
Earthbound, Snatcher, like those games that are like $500 plus, like
yeah,
that, like you never in your right mind would play them anyway. Like, yeah, I can understand you slabbing those, but like
yeah.
Mario 64, which is like a $15 game at most, you know.
Yeah, there's people who
Um,
get ridiculous with it, but like I said, yeah, every hobby is going to have those collectibles that are like behind a pane of glass. Like this is my pride and joy right here, But for the most part, everything on my shelf you can pick up and play. There's a few things that I have that are kind of like not behind glass or anything, but I have them put up on
mhm.
display, and they're not to be opened up. Like I do have a bunch of sealed games.
Yeah,
Um, and here's the thing: is I put them out there because I like it. Now, it just so happens maybe in 50 years they're going to be worth $1 million. Who knows? But the thing is, I'm not that guy that collects games as an investment, and I think that's what hurts a lot of retro gaming. Is people, like how people were doing that with in the '90s with comics. People
Yeah,
got on this bandwagon of collecting comics to like because someone found a Superman issue 1 in their closet, and next thing you know, everybody's going out to the comic shop to collecting comics. So like, oh well,
yeah.
better start getting to it now,
Of great
And
grief.
that's and that's why we had X-Men 1 back in the '90s.
Yeah,
If you
like
remember
there's
that
a.
that debacle,
Oh yeah, it sold like 7 million copies. Still the highest selling comic book of all time. Yeah, the
yeah,
companies fed into it. They fed into like they released like 13 different variants. And just as an aside, I feel like the indie market is kind of falling into the same trap that comics did in the '90s. Like when you have a Kickstarter for an indie comic and they have like 5 different variants, or whatever. Um,
yeah.
like I do get like a lot of these indie comics are future collectibles because like speaking for my stuff, my average print run is like between 300 and 400 copies an issue, 300 and 500 copies an issue for a lot of my stuff. So like you buy my comic now, like Screecher. If Screecher becomes a feature film, that first run of Screecher is going to be pretty valuable. I
Yeah.
mean, hell, my very first comic, Product Axis, the original version. There's only 25 of those that ever exist, and there ever will exist. Like that's going to be valuable. Um, I thankfully have one of them, but yeah, no, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then Geek Hero Bubba says, "You got to collect what you love. One day it might be worth something, or it might be yeah." That's kind of why I got out of retro collecting in the late 2010s because I kind of got disgusted. Basically, it's like your worth in the community was what rare games you had. The more rare, the bigger the
Oh
rare
yeah.
game, the bigger your dick. Like, oh, I have Earthbound. Shut up. My opinion's more valid. Oh, I have Snatcher. My opinion's valid. And here's the thing. At the time, I owned Panzer Dragoon Saga. That was a big dick game. Uh,
Yeah.
Literally one of the rarest games ever. Um, you know, by the way, I had it loose, and I paid $250 for it, which is a
Oh
freaking
wow.
steal nowadays. This is like 2013, 2014. I bought it. And I sold it. By the way, I sold it for like I think for $300 or $400, so I actually made a profit. But
Mhm.
but like I sold it because I was just so disgusted. Just yeah,
And to talk about what uh, Geek Hero Bubba says here, it reminds me, and I hate to quote Rick and Morty, but it reminds me of that one episode of Rick and Morty where Jerry's talking to Doofus Rick about his R2D2 coins, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you that these are going to gain in value over time, but as long as you like them, that's all that matters. And I think that's what we got to understand with a lot of retro gaming is like, as long as you like it, you don't have to like collect to like, oh, this is going to be valuable someday. If you think it's nice, then that's all that
well,
matters.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I like Castlevania Symphony Night. I think it's one of the greatest games ever made. But that doesn't mean I'm going to pay $150 for it.
Oh yeah. Well, I know.
I would love to own like Snatcher. I think that's a really like neat, cool, interesting game. But I'm not
So
paying $500 for that thing.
no, which is why I have a bootleg of it.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Because yeah,
Like a lot of these games that I think are cool, interesting, that I would love to own. Um, I'm not paying some of these like frickin' prices. Like Parasite Eve. I love that game. I think it's so innovative. I am not paying $80 for Parasite Eve. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. But that's another thing too is sometimes you just got to look out for those deals because sometimes you might find something that's normally expensive and you might find it cheap. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's how I've gotten a lot of my stuff. Is trolling through Facebook Marketplace. somebody will offer you a good deal or whatever. And sure,
Or if you're the kind of person to do it, go out to yard sales.
that that well is dry. I'm sorry to say that well has been dry for almost going on 10 years now. Like I'm sorry, I was doing the garage sales, the flea markets. It was a gold mine from like 2012 to about 2015. After 2015, it started to dry up.
I don't know. I've still seen people getting good stuff. They've told me you just got to ask. Hey, do you have any games for sale? And
It is not as common as it once was. Like it's like finding a needle. Like back in like 2014, I used to go out every weekend for garage sales, and I'd do the asking. And every weekend, I'd find something or multiple of things. Nowadays, it's like you go to like 50 different garage sales. On like one of them, you might find something kind of interesting. The problem is, people know what they have, or like they just go onto eBay or price charting, and then they just go off of that.
Mhm.
It's not worth it, you know. Like if I see a game for a decent price at a game store, I'll buy it, but that's about it. Yeah, yeah. Every old lady, and then she's like, "I know what I have. I have Mario Brothers 3," which, to be fair, that's a bit of a pricey game, but still, I don't know. I also think some of the supplies of some of these games are getting dwindled because Mario Brothers is a really cheap game, but like how many people bought them in droves and made coffee tables out of them, you know, or like how many of these common games were like cannibalized for modding projects, you know?
Mhm. And I had somebody actually argue against modding for that because they were like, you know, they're saying like, oh, there were like, I think somebody was yelling at me for modding my NES, and they're like, there's only so many in the world, and now you've ruined them. And I'm like, dude, do you know how many fucking NESs were sold?
If this was a top loader, I might make the argument. See, the only thing I have against console modding is you're modding it for now. You know, you're modding it to update it to modern standards. What's going to happen in 50 years when that same modded console is a whole different TV standards? Will you be able to mod it for that kind of thing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it depends. But yeah, like,
Oh God,
uh,
yes. Oh God, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Or like you go to a gun show and someone's trying to sell like an M1 Garand for like $1,000, and it's like this thing is a pile of twigs. I know what I got, Sonny.
yeah, do you really?
But yeah, that thing is happening, and I don't know. Like the other thing that really kind of wilded me out is Pokemon cards are collectible game because I remember the 2010s. If you went into a Pokemon like a card shop and tried to sell your Pokemon cards, you would get laughed out of the store because they were
Yeah,
worthless in the from like 2005 until like 2021. They were worthless. Like a
yeah,
holographic Charizard was worth like at most $15. Like
yeah.
you tried to sell your Pokemon cards, they would literally laugh you out of the store. Like I saw it happen. And nowadays, those same cards, like they treat it like gold, and I guess to people they are gold, but to me, they're still worthless. But I guess it's a matter of perception. Hi,
But
Castor. Oh, you ducked out there for a second.
oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, but so yeah, like yeah, it's crazy,
I could see
especially
that,
like
Dave. I could see that, Dave. Yeah, honestly.
especially with like people fist fighting on Costco now over the weekend. You see that?
Oh God! I actually right before we went live, I saw this video of someone who like fell over and dropped all their boxes, and like freaking roaches, people swarmed in and grabbed their boxes. Like, and then someone pointed out the cards aren't actually worth that much. Like, the most valuable card is barely worth anything or whatever. And I'm like,
It's like that alternate think it's like alternate art Umbreon, and that's the only one that's like the people were looking for.
Dude, I lived through the Beanie Baby craze. I know what this is like.
Oh,
Okay,
I know. Yeah, same here. Yeah, I know. Oh my God,
and,
Beanie
and the thing
Babies.
is,
Oh my
well,
God,
here's the thing:
people. That's the same kind of thing. People were buying those as an investment.
they were like, to be fair, the designs of the Beanie Babies were kind of cute. Like, if I think I still have some Beanie Babies around here somewhere, and I still want to get Seymour the Seal because that's my birthday beanie. It has the same, has my birthday on it, but that's about it.
Like I remember, like there was all kinds of like home videos that you could buy where it was like talking about like what to look out
Oh
for
God,
and what
I
buying
remember reading
guides
the
and everything.
Oh God, I had a buying guide. I used to read that all the time as a kid because I only had so many books to read, and that was one of them. I
You
remember
know,
I got my hands on like Mary Beth's Beanie Baby World, like their magazines. Um, oh God, like I
yeah,
remember going to the shows in the '90s. Oh, like remember when the Princess Diana doll came out?
yeah.
That was a madhouse. Like, oh, we need the PVC beans, not the other kind of beans. Like it's just
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's always going to be like a crazy moment where people just they jump on the fear of missing out and the fear of making a quick buck.
FOMO.
Um, and the thing and this is what pissed me off, and because I was in line for the SNES Classic when it first came out. Got up that morning because I really wanted to get it because I missed the NES Classic, and it was gone. Once that was gone, it was gone. And if
Yeah,
people if
I think
you want,
Nintendo underestimated how many people wanted that one.
yeah, and so if you wanted it, you got to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, which was stupid. So so I was like, all right, well the SNES Classic is coming out. I'm not gonna miss it. I'm gonna jump on there in the morning and I'm gonna go get it. So that morning I went out and I got up early, went out to the Best Buy before it closed. They had a little paper you got that said you got basically a voucher said that you got one. Um, and there wasn't that many people out there. There was maybe 20 people outside the door. Everybody only got one. You were only allowed to have one,
Mm-hmm.
and but there were people in line going, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to put this on eBay. Oh yeah, I can't wait to. Oh man, this is going to make me so much money." And I'm sitting there going, "I just want to play Star Fox." Like I'm just sitting there
Yeah.
like, I can't wait to go home and plug this bad boy up. Like, what are you talking about? Selling it? Shit, I'm gonna go plug this bad boy up and play Super Mario World. I'm like, dude, this has got Final Fantasy 6 on it. Do you not understand? Like,
Yeah.
you could say Beanie Babies were like a candle in the wind. Nice.
Uh,
I like that one.
yeah. See, the thing about the SNES Classic was there was more available, and also the trend was still strong, but it was kind of like they had reached the apex already, and it was starting to come on its way down by that point.
Yeah. And then, boy, I tell you what, PlayStation just dropped the ball. PlayStation had FOMO and I don't give a shit all rolled up in one. They
Well, the
said,
thing is,
"Damn,
like
uh,
that thing was such a clusterfuck, because they're like the hardware itself looked like actually was kind of nice. The software end, their game selection, was trash.
game
Like
game
they're
game selection was trash. The whole thing was trash." And it was like it was all European versions too. That's another thing.
yeah,
They were PAL versions. And what killed me was like it was like almost like PlayStation was like, "Oh crap, mini consoles are doing good. We should throw one out." And then at the same time, they were like, "But let's do it as half-assed as we can."
yeah.
You know?
And what's funny is they were like the price was dropping like flies. Like I remember at one point there was like this brief moment where it was $20 new, and then everyone discovered how easy it was to mod, and then all the stock was sold out and the price had shot up on the used market.
Yeah. Dave says, "I'm glad Nintendo made more stock for both as a middle finger to scalpers, and that's why there wasn't that many people out. I don't think because they knew there was enough for everybody, so
Yeah,
there was no
that's
point in
that.
scalping them."
Yeah, that's why I think they said they produce as many as 20 million Switches for Switch 2s because Nintendo knows this is going to be like they're going to like. I don't think this is going to be scalped.
No, that because honestly, the debacle with fucking PS5 that was just crazy. When PS5 first came out, you could not grab one, and people were scalping them.
Mm-hmm.
That was because and what sucks is this generation I feel is almost over, but it's now people are starting to get the consoles. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's even worse. Like COVID was crazy. Like I remember,
Yeah.
like people were scalping video cards. Like that was when the 30 series was dropping. Like I remember seeing this video of like this ethot on stream be like, "Hey, look, I got a 3090. Ha 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 ha." That bitch was never gonna open it. She was probably gonna sell it, like flipping herself after that was over. It was like
Yeah.
like a bikini streamer, like, "Hey, look, I got a 3090. Ha ha." Like she didn't know what a 3090 was.
Uh,
That's how bad it
he,
got. People were flexing with a video card. E-thoughts were flexing because they had a video card. That's how bad this was getting.
and probably and a week ago they had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
Bubba says, "Don't be upset. I did the same thing with the 3DS after the Wii. I was
Oh god,
after
the
the Wii was so
Wii.
scarce, I stupidly ran to get my 3DS day one. I did that with the DSi, but that was just because I was excited to get a DSi. I got mine
Okay.
day one.
I was kind of out of gaming at the time, but like I've heard horror stories of like how bad the Wii was that first Christmas. Um
Oh yeah,
like I remember a friend of mine was working at a game store, and they had a Wii there for $600. You want to know what his sales pitch was? We're like, yeah, I know it's overpriced. Yeah, we both know it's overpriced. But let me tell you this: do you want to be the one parent to not have their children have a Wii under the Christmas tree? He
yeah,
bought it.
yep. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Like, how many like standout PS5 games are there? Like, are there any?
it
Like,
depends on really what it depends on what you're into. I mean, I guess if you're like a super hardcore God of War fan, I guess that's one.
yeah, but Ragnarok came out on the PS4.
Oh, did it? Okay,
Yeah.
well, never mind.
Um, I don't know. Like I can't think of any like Series X exclusives. And this is the other thing. Like people trying to say exclusives don't matter is like the biggest cope of all time.
Yeah, I actually watched a video the other day where somebody was saying that like they think that they think that the era of exclusive gaming should be over, and I was like, you're a fucking idiot
If
because
I mean, if everything kind of converged onto one platform, which I'll be honest, the industry's kind of heading that way. Basically, I think in 10 years' time, it's going to be Nintendo and PC. That's going to be the game market.
yeah, but I think exclusive games are always great for market diversity. I think they're great for you know just fans in general. Um, to me it brings a good competition. But to have everything under one wheelhouse, I don't agree with that. Um,
Yeah.
now if you got a company buying up other companies greedily, like like Microsoft was, that's kind of a problem. Um,
Yeah.
but but Nintendo is always going to have his exclusives, so it works for Nintendo. Why can't it work for anybody else? I mean, come on. Um, yeah, it sucks. There's certain games I can't play on the Xbox, but I'm not boohooing myself at night.
Yeah,
To
because
sleep at night.
most people, it's like they got their PS5 in their Switch, they got their Series X in their Switch, they got their PC in their Switch. Nintendo knows it is the auxiliary console. They know that. They know their lane. That's why
Yeah,
Nintendo survived. They know they're the other console. They're like
yeah,
they're the and Switch. That's how it is. Yes, people play it as their primary console, and that's fine. But Nintendo hasn't tried to be the primary console for generations now.
they just try to make the best games they can. you know.
Also, the 3DS was really a great time for handheld gaming. I'm just gonna say it. So many great games. I can't wait for like in 5 to 10 years when all the nostalgia for the 3DS hits because that's gonna be wild. I'm excited to watch all of, like the retrospectives on YouTube about how great the 3DS era was. Um,
Oh, 3DS was amazing console,
oh God,
amazing handheld.
I have a modded one and I'm not getting rid of it.
Yeah, I actually have the Legend of Zelda edition.
Mine is the Pokemon one that came out with Red and Blue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was actually a little bit of an expensive one, but I actually bought that day one too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I saw the Legend of Zelda one. It was $200, and I said, you know what? I can eat ramen noodles for the next week.
is it the Link Between Worlds bundle?
Yes.
Oh my god, that was my first 3DS. That system is so beautiful.
Yeah, I
It
looked
is
at.
so beautiful. It
I,
feels nice. It's got gold on the top, black on the bottom. It is
yeah,
so beautiful.
like I said, I looked at it and it was love at first sight. I said, "You're coming home with me." I'm sorry.
I am so tempted to buy the Legend of Zelda Switch Lite. That thing looks so good.
Yeah,
Oh god. 3DS modding is actually not that hard. It's a bit tricky, but it is doable.
yeah. So,
Um,
you want to go ahead and show some people some of the photos I sent?
all right. I'm just gonna share.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna share the messages on Twitter because like there you sent me a lot, sir, and I don't feel
yeah.
like downloading all of them.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. There.
There we go. So we have my modded. This is my modded RGB modded NES, and I custom painted it myself, where it's like Metroid.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's the inside. It has the blinking light wind disc cartridge tray replacement. So that does not push down. That just slides in just slides in vertically. You don't push down or nothing. So that
Keep
gets rid of that.
calm and don't press down. I love it.
Yeah, keep going and don't press down. And then there's the back of it. Has the SNES port.
Mm.
And then there's the inside of it. And there's my modded Game Gear.
Pretty Sonic colors.
And the matching Metroid controller.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Now this is the SNES Junior. On the back there, you'll notice that's a little magnet thing. It's a magnet connector for a USB-C port. So yeah, I put a USB-C port on the back of mine because the normal one has a little plastic piece that you put you plug the adapter into. Well, the little plastic piece in the middle broke, and I could not find any replacement for it at all, because it's actually built into the back of it.
Oh dang!
So I scoured for like almost a year trying to find out how to replace it until I found one guy had a video on YouTube of how to install a USB-C port on the back, and I followed it and everything, and it works perfectly. I was so happy, but then I had one guy. Yeah, I had one guy on Reddit of all places was giving me so much shit over it when I kind of like shared it on there.
I mean, it's Reddit. Come on,
It's Reddit,
man.
and people are like why would you do that to your SNES Junior? Don't you know there's not that many out there? I was like, dude, but I was like, it was either that or just have it be a paperweight. Like,
yeah, because
I
yeah, it's like I could see you making the case for like the top loader because those are actually a bit rare, but at the same time, those only do RF out, so those need modding.
yeah. Well, see, the thing is, the current mods for it are reversible. So you can act like you can do the same RGB mod that my front loader has. But the thing is, I can actually, desolder everything out of it and actually I can reverse it basically, except for the
Mm.
shell, which the shell has that SNES port on the back. That's the only thing that's irreversible because
Well, you
actually.
can always 3D print a new shell and use that, and then if you want to reverse it, you put the original shell back on. That's easy
Yeah,
enough.
but the actual like inner guts of it, I can actually reverse that. Yeah, so it's not permanent, but whatever.
Yeah, and then Dave is like 3DS is awesome, even better. Yeah, and then he also follows up with the Glasses 3D effect was awesome. I don't know why. Uh, because especially on the original models, it was hard to kind of get like that sweet spot, and it was a gimmick. Like yeah, like okay, Super Mario 3D World, or I remember playing Link Between Worlds. Link Between Worlds uses 3D very well, in my opinion. Like there are
Yeah,
some dungeons where like you're trying to like float down, and the 3D helps so much. But yeah, for a lot of them, they just treated it like a gimmick. Like you just kind of turned it on. So like there's things like, oh wow, look at this. And you turn it off and never turn it back on again.
yeah. It just depends. To me, that was just preference.
Yeah,
I know some people it did hurt their eyes, so that's another thing.
yeah. Like
Some people's guys got tired.
I think it was pretty telling how the further along in the 3DS's life you went, the less they supported the 3D. Like I think Sun and Moon didn't have any 3D at all in it. Like a lot of other ones didn't have 3D. And then they started marking the 2DS, and they have like the Flip 2DS. Like it's very, but I think it says a lot about the 3DS that even without its main gimmick, the system was still strong enough to stand on its own.
Oh yeah, because it had just better hardware to it.
Better hardware, the games. Nyx is like, it hurt my eyes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the greatest. Yeah, the new 2DS. Because they actually had a little bit of like eye tracking with it, so like the zone was a little bit wider. Um,
Oh, I hated the new 3DS, the new 2DS. I hated that.
I mean, it was basically the 3DS Pro. That's basically what it was.
Yeah,
Um, it didn't really do much because like you had a few games that ran better, Majora's Mask, some exclusives, and you could play Super Nintendo games on it. Oh yeah, the 3D was well done in a lot of games. It was very well done. I'm not denying that.
yeah,
Like hell, if I played some games now and I turned on the 3D, it'd probably still look just as breathtaking.
yeah. And also had that augmented reality.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some of that, and like some games supported it. Like
Yeah,
I remember I played Bravely Default, and like the opening was like augmented reality. So like Agnes was like begging for help on top of my pancakes. I was like, Agnes, can you please get off my pancakes? I'm trying to eat.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, what do you mean exactly by that, Bubba? Because like we were talking about the Switch 2 earlier, and I argued it was a 3DS upgrade. Castor feels like it might be a DSi upgrade, and I just kind of remain to be seen. Um, but yeah, hmm. What are some of your favorite games with 3DS? Since they're kind of on the topic, Castor.
Let's see here. What did I like for the 3DS? Well, I mean, obviously the Pokemon games. I played a shit ton of those.
Hmm.
Especially X and Y.
Yeah,
I had Y,
X
by
and
the way.
Y. Yeah, I had Y as well. Y, oh god, I love Gen 6. It's one of my favorites.
Um, Also liked like a lesser known game, Code of Princess. I played the heck out of that. That was pretty
Hmm.
fun. That was like a spiritual successor to Guardian Heroes. It was like a rail beat 'em up.
Okay.
Where you had a foreground, middle ground, and background. and you switch between those three rails, and you beat 'em, but it was a beat 'em up.
Okay.
And then of course I always loved playing the what is it, new Super Mario Brothers on the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always fun too.
Oh, Angelus. For me, yes, Geek Hero Bubba. Bravely Default is an underrated RPG. I need to play Bravely Default 2 for the Switch. I played the demo, looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Pokemon Y. Basically, the reason I got that is because a friend of mine was getting X, and so that's why I did that. I think maybe it was like a girl I dated at the time or something. I can't remember. Some other games I remember I liked was Liberation Maiden. That was like a little smaller downloadable game where you're like flying through and you have to use like the stylus. Basically, you're playing like this like anime girl, and she's the president of Japan. And as soon as she gets elected, she hops on her mech and go fights off aliens. It is the most Japanese plot ever, and I love the game. It's like short, but it's got like like the gyro controls. It really uses it like I don't know. It was just really fun. I still have it on my 3DS. It's a lot of fun.
And the fact that they had Street Fighter 4 on the 3DS,
Oh yeah, day one. That was a flex.
that was actually pretty cool too. It was actually kind of fun. I was actually surprised how good it was on there.
Yeah, I feel like they really use the touchscreen mechanic really well in some games. Like there's Weapon Shop Damacy, which you're basically playing like a shop owner selling weapons to RPG protagonists. But like the way you forge it, it's like you time it, you hammer it out. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
Um, like there's a lot of like really cool ideas on the Switch. Um, like I feel like they use the like the uniqueness of the Switch to great effect.
yeah. And there's so many hidden gems on the console too.
Yeah, like obviously the RPGs, like so many different games. Oh gosh.
Aside from
You
like
know what? Screw it. I gotta go get my 3DS. I'm sorry. I want to go look at it now. Probably still has a charge because I think I charged it up. That's what I love about like Nintendo consoles. Their battery holds a charge really well. Um. All right.
Oh yeah, before the stream started, he was talking about how his Game Gear was in storage, but it works perfectly.
Yeah. So here's my 3DS.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not a skin. That's actually how it looks, right?
Yeah. It's a backplate.
Oh, that's how.
Oh,
Ooh, okay.
it turns on. Uh, I think so. Um.
Okay.
Yep. All right. It works. um. Oh God, Fantasy Life. I freaking love this game. I'm actually really excited for the sequel on the Switch. I need to get. Yeah.
Yeah, the 3DS is such an amazing system.
Yeah. So you can tell my 3DS is modded. Um.
And what I like is that
We'll fight for our people.
Yeah, there's Liberation Maiden. Um.
and what I like about the Nintendo consoles is that there's two evolutionary lines: the consoles and the handhelds. And I like how they all converge on the Switch.
Oh,
Like,
and I just want to say, I do have a fan translated version of Monster Dragon Quest Monsters 2 on the 3DS. This is
sweet.
translated. Yeah. And this one, really love this one.
And,
yeah,
and it
continue.
had amiibo support.
Oh yeah, because I think the new 3DS had the amiibo support. The old one you had to buy like an adapter. Also, on more proof that it's modded. You gotta have the emulators. Um, See, I really love 3DS homebrew in current day because you can just download every 3DS game right onto your 3DS. It's so great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. And yes, it does run Doom. But yeah, I got some of the retro games here. Basically, this was the edition that came with Pokemon Red and Blue. Like, and this is kind of a big deal at the time because it's like the first time they'd re-release the game digitally. Um, now, did they do a Dragon Quest Monsters 1 remake for the 3DS? I think they only did 2. But yeah, in terms of like my favorites, also just having Smash Brothers on the 3DS. Um, yeah, actually, Dave, I agree with you.
I do too. I
Yeah,
wholeheartedly.
yeah, especially when you look at like all of like the collections or like the ports it gets, it is insane. Like all of like being able to play Jedi Academy on your Switch online working is just insane. Um, all
Yeah, the amount of like remasters and collections and re-releases.
right,
Not to,
Hold down the fort for a few minutes. I need to visit my office.
that means he's got to poop, everybody.
Frick off!
But all right. So now I'm taking over the stream. No, but seriously, folks. But yeah, the Switch to me is like, yeah, I think it's Nintendo's greatest console because of just the sheer amount of content when it comes to that. I mean, you got remasters, you got all the collections out there, you have the re-releases, and then not to mention all the newer games that come out. So it's got something for literally anybody. It's just amazing. Little kids can play it and get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Old people can get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and then younger people. It's something for literally everybody.
Yeah, like
And
Nintendo
that's
really,
something Nintendo has always been trying to do.
yeah, Nintendo really hit a vein. Um, oh god, I am gone for like a few minutes, and this is what happens. Uh, yeah, I've played some other times. Uh, let's see here, Smash Brothers on 3DS. Yes. Bubba, no, I was just pissed off. All right, I needed to go let off some steam, so I was just pissed off. That's all I'm gonna say on that matter. Um, oh gosh, I'm just surrounded by stuff right now. Yeah, the one bad part is, yeah, the PSPs. If you store them, you have to recharge them when you bring them back out because they don't hold a charge. This is my PSP right here, and it is modded. So, but gosh darn it, I love the PSP. I freaking love this console so much.
Honestly, what PSP wasn't modded? That's the
Yeah,
bigger question. Everybody I knew who had a PSP always was like, "Hey, guess what? What? I'm playing Final Fantasy VII on mine. What? I'm playing
uh,
Super Mario Brothers on mine. What?
yeah, or like I'm playing Pokemon on my
What?
PSP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every
See,
single
like,
guy I knew had it modded.
the PSP was kind of like the first time that people had like a lot of these like emulation handhelds. Like that was like pretty much a lot of people's first experience. Most people of like my generation, um, of like the first time with like a retro emulation handheld was probably a PSP for a lot of people, just because like obviously the modding was easy for it, but just as like a console, it worked really well with like older games, just because like it had the things and it's what's really weird is this console is like it's it, God, I'm trying to think of like a really bad joke. It's it's flatter than a pancake. Let's just go that way. But it feels really nice in the hand. Like I'm holding it right now, and it feels really nice in the hand. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and it played discs too, didn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, and what was
Yeah.
cool, I thought what was kind of cool is it even had its own like movie library.
Oh yeah. Here's one of the UMDs. It's Mega Maverick Hunter X, which by the way is actually a really good port. I still preferred like the original version, but this version's actually not bad. All right, welcome back to the world of the waking, Black Raper Kai. We appreciate you.
And he took the red pill. Now he's awake.
You know, he's awake. Oh god. But yeah, I think Nintendo really hit a gold mine with the Switch because they merged their handheld and their like console division, so they weren't splitting their forces, so they could like concentrate on developing for one platform. Obviously, that was going to help. But the other thing is like they recognize, hey, our handhelds do really good. What if we just combine them?
Yeah. And that's what I like about it is that the Switch is both a handheld and a regular like, standalone console. You can just
Mm-hmm.
because like for a lot of people, they don't take it out of the dock. You know, it's just they play it on the TV. But then you can like that's what's so great about it, you take it anywhere.
Yeah, and
But
like I think the reason why also a lot of people like the Switch is it encourages double dipping. So like
yep,
you buy it on your main console, and then let's say this game comes out on Switch, you buy it because it's portable, you know,
yeah,
kind of thing. Have it on the go, and I think companies like that because double dipping.
yeah,
So yeah, the Switch has carved out its niche, and I don't like. I think even Nintendo knows that niche isn't going anywhere in the foreseeable future. I think them just doing Switch but better is probably a good move.
and that's another thing about like uh with the remasters and re-releases that are on there, games that weren't at one time were not portable are now portable because of the Switch. You know,
Yeah, like for example, I remember when I first got my Switch, I was like, I'm playing Skyrim on the toilet. This is the coolest thing ever,
yeah, yeah,
And it was, like a lot of these like console experiences, taking it with you. Like, yes, at that point, Skyrim was almost a 10-year-old. Like, okay, it was a 5-year-old game when the Switch was released. Let's be fair here.
yeah.
But still, Skyrim portably is a big deal.
Mm,
And that's why I think Nintendo is going to secure a big game like an Elden Ring, a Cyberpunk, an RD. Like imagine RDR2 on the go, and not on the
yeah,
Steam Deck. I know the Steam Deck can play RDR2, but imagine the Switch 2 playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
yeah. Well, and like you say, you can already do that with a Steam Deck, but the Steam Deck's not really it's not really a commercial success like the Switch is.
I mean, I think Dave kind of said it right. The Steam Deck is niche,
It
but it
is it's
is
niche.
a
Yeah,
but for what it is a relative success compared to the
yeah.
Switch. It's nothing. But but the other thing about the Steam Deck is this thing is huge. Um, like, all right. So Nick says, my best friend got me into playing Skyrim because of the Switch. Yeah. Uh, there will just be 3 lanes in gaming. Bubba, what do you think those 3 lanes are? And let me just. Indeed, Atari is taking over straight handheld. Nintendo is pushing hybrid, and Sony will take the PlayStation. Xbox, yeah, Xbox is definitely on its way to software only. I don't think Atari is going to take over handheld. Trust me, they tried. Like Atari is a legacy brand, and they know it. I think, uh, I think Steam is going to be the one to take over straight handheld because when it comes to like here's the thing I love about the Steam Deck is this thing has been out in the market for like 3 years. There's handhelds that are like more powerful than it, but the Steam Deck is still the best value for the money when it comes to this kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
and
not
and it
me
gives people
herself.
who are curious about PC gaming, gives them access to that too.
Oh, you're talking about the new? Oh, you're talking about the new Switch or the Atari one? Because
No,
I
no,
was
I'm talking
talking
about
about
the.
both.
No, I'm sorry. I was talking about the Steam Deck, where like it gives access to people like who are curious about PC gaming, but that may not have like a really good rig.
Yeah, and it does what Valve has been trying to do for like over 10 years. The Steam Deck consoleizes PC gaming.
Mhm.
Yeah. Atari. Let's look at this trailer for the Atari handle because I saw it once and I Atari Game Station Go. Uh, currently their parent company. I mean, money does not buy you talent. Just gonna say. Let's watch this trailer. I'm gonna turn off the sound.
All
Um,
right.
okay. There we go. We got buttons.
And more buttons.
All right. I mean, handheld being ruled by retro. Yeah, I can agree with that. And there we go.
The Coleco number pad. What?
Don't tell Tommy Tellerico. Oh, there's a credit button. Yeah, it's part of the My Arcade line too. So there's that. All right, micro SD card. I don't necessarily agree, Bubba. All right, let's stop it here. I'm sorry. When I look at this, I look at a niche device. Like it might work for playing like Atari games or whatever. I don't see this becoming a mainstream device. I'm sorry.
What the hell is this for?
Yeah, like it has a numpad. It's just all right. Enjoy your stream, Nick. Thanks for joining us. Um, yeah, I don't see it working. Honestly,
Is that
uh,
supposed to be? Is that a retro thing, or is it supposed to be like a modern
I don't know. Maybe
handheld?
both. Um, but let's get to
Because
it.
it looks ugly as sin.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
No, I'll say it. Fuck, it looks ugly as sin. I was like that. Very. I don't know. Just
All right.
that's
So
why that's why I want to know if it was a retro console because it has a ColecoVision controller on the side. What like what are we playing? Smurfs with a ColecoVision?
all right, all right. A rumor Rockstar North tried to keep their games off Nintendo consoles because of a grudge after Nintendo nearly closed them down when their exclusive Nintendo dev. If that were the case, then why did we get Chinatown Wars on the DS? Um, and also, why did we get like Red Dead Redemption released on the Switch? Also, we got that like detective game LA Noir on the Switch. I don't think so, but I'm platforming you. Um, people keep underestimating Atari. I mean, Nintendo keeps. I mean, Atari keeps doing stunts like the VCS or whatever. I don't know. One of
I
these
mean,
days, I'm gonna buy Atari. I'm just saying that right now.
I mean, I mean, we're also talking about the company that was responsible for the Jaguar.
To be fair, the Atari that they're responsible for the Jaguar, we are so far removed from that. Atari's been bought and sold so many times throughout the
Oh
years.
yeah, I know.
Like even then, the Atari that made the Jaguar was not the Atari that brought you the VCS. So, you know,
But they
Atari
still keep
brand,
failing.
the Atari brand has been doing better in recent years. The question is, will Atari other? Yeah, like from what I understand, their 50th collection was pretty good. I need to check it out. Um, and I'm not saying Atari games are bad. Like I think some VCS games can still be fun. I will defend the VCS. I think it has its place, but I think Dave's right. You know, the last big thing Atari did was Roller Coaster Tycoon, and that was only because they bought Infogrames. You know, like Roller Coaster Tycoon was like the last big like, and I like Atari was kind of a player in like the early 2000s because like I don't know if you remember a lot of the Matrix games were Atari. Like Atari was kind of doing some stuff in the 2000s, but then they folded. Um, there were different devs under Rockstar and with the ports, I believe. I mean, maybe. Like, I'm not gonna like dismiss it out of hand, but I'm just not sure. You know, I think the reason why we didn't get GTA 5 on the Switch is because GTA like the Switch is not a like full parity for the PS4, and they didn't want to have to like keep backporting stuff, and I think that's why we never got it. We might get GTA 6 for the Switch too. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. Also, hi, some guy. How you doing, buddy? Um, but yeah, like they bought Shiny, so like Enter the Matrix, Path of Neo. We talked about the Roller Coaster Tycoon. I think some of the Godzilla games on the PS2 were Atari as well. Castor, do you remember that era
Of what?
of like Atari public? Like Atari was a player in the PS2 Xbox era. Like they were a major publisher in that era. And I think if they had
Yeah,
continued that, it would be kind of interesting. But they kind of faded out.
that's the thing. It's like Atari, like ebbs and flows within reality. It's like they phase in and out of reality for so many times. It's like they come in and then they're gone, and they come in and then they're gone. They come in and they're gone. It's amazing how they just they amazing how that company stays relevant.
Yeah, didn't they
Just
do like a lot of the? Oh, they did the Bo-Katan trilogy for the PS2. Like they're doing a lot of the DBZ games. Thank you, Bubba, for
mm,
reminding me. Um, I get what you're saying, Bubba. I just think that's like saying because Sega is owned by Pachinko Company, Sammy, or Konami is making so much money off of their Pachinko machines. Why aren't they doing good? But I appreciate your passion, and you know what, Bubba? I'm just gonna say this: I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for Atari to come back and do it, and I'll gladly eat crow. So there.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I would love. I don't know. I feel like. Oh gosh, Atari did remember their ST line of computers. They were
Mhm.
big for like because of the music industry because like they had built-in MIDI ports. Um, yeah, like the history of Atari is a really fascinating.
Yeah, it's it really is a long history.
Atari phased it in between our reality and the Blade Runner universe.
Yeah, it's just yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like Atari becomes relevant, and then you never hear about them for a while, and then they come back, and then you never hear about them for a while, and then they come back, and it's just like it's almost like Quantum Leap. It's like
Oh
Atari
god.
wakes up and goes, "What year is it?" You know.
And Bubba, I hope you're right. I honestly do hope you're right. I have my doubts, but I hope for your sake you're right. That's as much as I can say on it. But yeah, I love the Roller Coaster Tycoon games. What sucks is they keep trying to recapture that Roller Coaster Tycoon magic, and they keep failing. The best they can do is like they release Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic, or they re-release Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. That's really all they can do nowadays. Speaking of which, I do want to check out Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic on the Switch, because apparently they got like console controls for that, so I think that might be kind of interesting to play on the Switch. Did you ever get into Roller Coaster Tycoon, Castor?
I never got into those kind of games. No, the simulation kind of games. No, I never got into those. But now, like I got into the Sims, but never into anything like Sim City or the Tycoon games.
Oh, Roller Coaster Tycoon VR would be interesting, especially like a Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 where you can actually ride the roller coasters you make. That would be interesting. Because for me, I had like a really underpowered computer in like the 90s, 2000s, and Roller Coaster Tycoon was like the only computer that would actually like game that would run reliably. So like that's what I played a lot was that game, and oh gosh darn, I have a lot of memories of Roller Coaster Tycoon 2.
Bubba, that would actually sound fucking amazing.
It would.
Roller Coaster
Yeah,
Tycoon VR. That would be something to sell VR helmets.
yeah. Like that's actually a pretty good topic we can do here. Like, what other games would be interesting in VR, in your opinion?
Um, Racing games, obviously.
Yeah.
Anything where like you are like, up in front, like any kind of like you imagine like a afterburner on VR, like some kind of like
Ooh.
like Ace Combat. That'd be kind of crazy.
I know No Man's Sky has a VR mode, and that's definitely something I'm going to try. Castor, read that. It's right up your alley.
Yeah, not a real tycoon game if you can't use turn of the century slave labor. That is
Uh,
true. That is true. Yeah, and they have to be orphans because no one cares if an orphan goes missing.
a VR Pokemon game. That would be interesting.
That'd be
Because
interesting too.
the ball throwing mechanic that could be easily done in VR for sure. Um, I've seen some like mod projects where like they create like a 3D version of a Pokemon and use like the 2D sprites in like a Minecraft kind of thing. It looks really cool.
Now, do you think Nintendo would get back into VR? Or do you think the Virtual Boy scared them off that forever?
I mean, they kind of dabbled with it during the Switch. Like
Yeah,
they had like the Labo VR and a few games were like compatible with it, but they never really
yeah,
went beyond it. I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. Maybe like I could see them releasing like a plastic accessory, maybe a knockoff of arms. Um, oh, Caster, can you go to Twitch and ban the bot, please?
Dude.
All right. While Castor exudes the mod powers that I've so willingly given him, um, a Star Fox game. Oh God, Pokemon Legends. Like imagine like a pissed off Snorlax charging you in VR. That would be wow. But a Star Fox game would be fun. An F-Zero would be fun. Um, oh, I guess Caster is temporarily. I banished him to the Shadow Realm. But yeah, I'm trying to think here. Some other games that would be interesting. Mario Kart, obviously, would be crazy. Welcome
I'm back.
back, sir.
I'm back.
Speaking of like first-person Mario Kart, Have you heard about that ride at Universal? They got like the Mario Kart ride.
Hey, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you,
Okay, cool.
sir.
Okay, cool. Um,
Okay.
now what we're talking about? Mario Kart? What?
Yeah, and we're doing like VR Nintendo games. But he says last Starfighter arcade game. Um, I don't think they do that because like the Death Flower would give everyone sickness.
Oh yeah,
Oh God. But what? Let's see here. I agree. I agree, Dave. I do. Nintendo will do VR again eventually. They'll let past. Yeah, I actually do agree, Dave. I agree 100%. The question is when. The question is when will they do that? Maybe during this generation, maybe not. Um, but yeah, like that's kind of where I am right now. Is I'm excited to see what happens because
yeah,
Nintendo always does something interesting. Like who thought they would have done stuff with cardboard? You know,
yeah.
like that. Like Nintendo always kind of has like that one little trick up their sleeve, like that come out of nowhere. Uh, like they did do kind of a VR. Like remember that the RC cars and like you controlled them with your Switch on your screen.
Yeah.
That was cool. It's a shame it really only was relevant for like a minute. Like you saw some people create like some crazy tracks, but it disappeared after a month or something. But yeah, that would be interesting if they revisit that concept, except VR. You know,
Hmm.
like imagine like you have like a Mario Kart RC car you control like it's like a drone. That would be that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that would create some interesting situations. Like, oh, I'm gonna catch my cheating wife. I'm just gonna use my son's Luigi RC car to catch him in the act. Oh God. But just in general, what other games would you like to see in VR?
Uh, let's see here. I'm trying to think what would translate good to VR here. I mean, obviously, like first person shooters would be. They have a lot of those already.
Yeah.
With a VR, like VR helmet and all that. Um, surprised they haven't done like dating sims.
Oh my God! No! 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 Bonk! 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 Bonk!
Just do a dating sim with VR.
God, I don't think Nintendo would do that because just the implications. But a Star Fox drone game, like honestly, that would
Well,
be
to
cool.
be fair, you can get hentai games on the
Bonk,
Switch online
bonk,
store.
bonk. A game to throw around NPCs. Hmm. Okay. Um, I think I said this on like a previous stream, but what you know what I really want to see? I want to see an AR game, augmented reality, with Yu-Gi-Oh, where basically like you're doing like the dual discs and like the
Yeah.
monsters are playing out right in front of you. Like imagine having a like a duel in your front yard and you see like a third
Well,
face boy and the dragon.
they've been practicing with that. And have you seen the 3D? Um, have you seen the video for that? The 3D Yu-Gi-Oh game.
No.
Oh, check that out.
Send me a link. I don't know how to search for it, but send me a link and we'll pull it up.
All right, hold on a second. I'll be right back. I'll go.
All right. Dave. Dave. I guess you could call it the knockout game. Oh my god. And then get on your motorcycle. Yeah, that's a sequel. That's a sequel where you do it on a motorcycle. Oh my god. Oh, Dave, sometimes I love you, but oh god. I'm trying to think here. What is, oh god. Yeah, GTA Online would be really, really crazy in VR. Trying to think here. Obviously, I would like some sort of flight sim. But yeah, I do want to try No Man's Sky in VR. That would be cool. But yeah, what are some other things you want to see for the Switch 2? Like in terms of like games, features? Because like that mouse button does really interest me. In terms of like the gameplay options it opens up, like we could do like point and click adventures more easily on it, or like imagine playing Civilization. Obviously, like I think the way the first person shooters are work is like you have the mouse, and then this is like the other thing, like for the movement. I think that's probably how they do it, to be honest. Which would be a really interesting control scheme. I think it could work. But like imagine playing like Civilization or Diablo. All right, I am getting better at holding the. Welcome back, Castor. All right, you come bearing fruits, do you?
Skip to 2 minutes in.
All right. I must say I am getting better at holding down the fort. All right. Y'all move, Yu-Gi-Oh. All right. Interesting. All right. As I guess that's like the avatar person or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be how you are. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Hold on. Here we go. We're gonna play Necro Valley.
Field spell activation confirmed.
Okay.
Excellent. The quality of this field is far superior than our previous system. We finally did it.
If you're done, continue the test.
Sir, forgive me.
Continuing the test.
Yeah. So this is how it's supposed to be. Like VR is supposed to look like.
This isn't good, sir. Number 25's SVR is rising at a rapid rate.
Say what? Pause this test while we check the vitals.
No, keep going.
Huh? Mr. Kaiba.
Oh God.
The test subject knew the risks when they signed up. Listen, a true duelist is never afraid to
Screw the rules. I have money.
chance at achieving
Yeah.
glory. You need to stop panicking over a few tiny bleeps and bloops. Unless you want to take the test subject's place.
Oh.
No, sir. Let's move on.
Understood. The next test is
That's right in front of you.
Oh, hello.
So that's how your monster will look like in front of you.
I don't mind standing behind Dark Magician Girl.
is rising even
Yeah.
higher.
What do you recommend we do?
Oh, look how she's concerned about him. I like it.
Right answer.
The next step involves monster attacks.
Summoning monster to opponent's field.
Yeah, but this was the trailer for like how the VR is going to look in the game.
Huh.
All right, now attack your opponent's monster.
Not gonna lie, this looks really cool.
Yeah, but this is how the game is. This is going to look awesome.
Yep. Hide her from the butter eater. Hide it.
Your attack success.
All right, okay.
But yeah, like that's the VR game they're working on. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, that does look pretty cool. Dave says, "Stray the cat game in VR. You get to be the cat." Wait,
Hey, there you go.
You're saying you get to be a pussy? And then Geek here was like, hide her from Melanie. Yeah. I wasn't gonna comment on that, but I'm just gonna say I think it's really stupid. Everyone like what you like. If you like the boobs, it's fine. If you like your women covered up, that's also fine. Like what you like, just don't tell people what to do. That's all I ask, okay? Dave says, Yu-Gi-Oh players require intense therapy after they realize there is no Shadow Realm. They're just killing people over a card game.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then Bubba says, yeah, pretty much. You want to talk about that? We're 2 hours in. I don't think anyone relevant is going to go this far. You want to talk about that for a little bit? The whole Gooner Gate thing, Castor? It's been talked to death for like a week. I'm personally getting tired of the conversation, but people want to talk about it.
I don't. As I say, I'm getting tired of myself. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Let's have sexy ladies and sexy guys. It's not a big deal. We've been doing this for decades.
Who cares what an overrated grifter who's hitting the wall? Who cares what she says?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's just a bunch of grifters trying to jump on and get some kind of panic going so they can become relevant. They're manufacturing a crisis so they can get clout. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like every time you have a female celebrity who has gotten popular because of her looks, every time she starts to get close to 40, all of a sudden she's like, actually, I don't like the portrayal of women. Like Scarlett Johansson started saying some of those things. And I'm like, girl, the only reason you're popular is because you have a pretty face. Like, yes, you're a good actress. But the difference between you and all the other good actresses is you had a pretty face.
Yeah. That's why they even cast her as Black Widow. she looked
like,
good.
Scarlett Johansson is a good actress. I'm not taking that away from her.
Yeah.
But there's lots of good actresses. And the thing that gave her the edge was her looks.
Exactly.
And I don't even mind people using their looks. It's the oldest profession. I get it, But yeah. Let's wrap it up. We got our 2 hours. I don't want to do too much on the Gooner stuff. So the next stream is going to be on Tuesday, where we play some A Link to the Past. All right, let's see what Dave has to say. Melanie Mack is an airhead who only ever... Yeah, I remember when she launched her channel, she was just like doing the regular talking points, and I tuned out after that. But next one is A Link to the Past on Tuesday. That's been going really good. On Wednesday, we are bringing back Crit Cinema. We're doing the 90s. We're going to be a little more careful with the clips we choose.
Yeah.
Because I caught a 3-day suspension for some werewolf butt. And so we're going to be a little more careful with the clips we choose.
And you did hear that correctly.
Yes. The Crit Cinema is exclusively on Twitch because I'm trying to build up my Twitch, and plus I can show more clips there. So we're going for like a straight hour. We're going for like a full-on hour. Even was it an hour or 2 hours? I can't remember. But yeah, that sucked. Yep, and then that's Wednesday, Saturday. Friday. We are doing. We are talking about the video game prices debate that's currently raging on Twitter. I think you saw some of my fights. Saturday, we're continuing Breath of the Wild. You guys have been loving that. And next week, next Sunday, on Extra Credits is going to be a really good one. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, why we love Sonic, and I'm going to have 2 special guests. So obviously Castor is going to be here. He has to be here. He's contractually obligated.
Yeah.
We're going to have...
You're 90.
Melee K is going to be here, plus Vaughn Coleman. So I got a freaking stacked cast. Nyx may be here. She hasn't confirmed or denied, so I'm not going to say it. She might be here, she might not. No guarantees. But yeah, this has been a really good show. Thank you guys for everyone for showing up. Uh, and then Castor, what do you got going on? Is there any streams in the near future?
Yep. We'll be streaming. I like to stream every Friday around 11:30 to midnight. The games depend on whatever I'm feeling, but usually it's going to be right now it's going to be Soul Reaver remastered, but we'll pick different things. Usually it's going to be like horror themed, but we might pick something else. I know last Friday I don't know, had an itch to play Marvel Rivals, so that's what we did.
No, 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 we are not doing that. Bad days, bad days. Yeah, and if you ever do Marvel Rivals again, I'd love to join you. So
Yeah. So we if you want to watch and come watch us get our asses kicked on Marvel Rivals, you're more than welcome.
Oh God, we were getting destroyed last time, but thank you, Castor, and thank you everyone for joining us. Geek Hero Bubba, Dave the Impaler. It seems like these Sunday streams are kind of working out, which I do appreciate it. And we are actually very close to the first stage of monetization. I'm actually going to look this up right now. We currently have 2,855 watch hours. So if you want to help me, watch the streams, watch my videos, get my watch hours up. That is the best thing you can do for me right now. But thank you, Castor, and we shall return next week. And as always, we got one more comment. Oh, God dang it! Oh, Black Reaper, you ruined me for that. Thank you, Bubba. Thank you. As always, I can only show the door. You're the one to walk through it.